Did it not? Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We're going to run our intro and we'll be right back. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. But since I've done it, hey guys, we are back. Yeah. So I am one of your hosts, Samantha. Directly below me is Katrina Taylor. And to my right, left, whatever it is on this thing, is Shanetta McNair.
You got to point in the other direction, though.
See, that's why I said right, left, wherever you are. I'm not even sure. Good evening, Mr. Walker. Thank you for joining us. So guys, this week I'm gonna get to it, but I did not put up my proper title. So as soon as I get this up. So ladies, how's your week been? We could share that while I'm doing this.
Well, mine is always interesting with other people's children. So, you know, they have no filters and they just say whatever they think. So, you know, there you are.
Oh, right. Was it this week that they were trying to talk about your hair?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It was Monday. Where I walked into a room, like I wasn't even talking to them. I literally walked into a room to talk to a coworker, and one of the little boys just turned around and looked at me and was like, "Oh, I don't like your hair like that." And they went in, and it was just like I'm standing there looking like, "Are we having this conversation? Like, did I even ask y'all anything?" And that little boy was like, "You need to go back to the big hair that you had at the beginning of the school year because that's you. That's more you." And the other little boy is like, "Yeah, we don't like that hair.
Wow.
Did I ask y'all anything? Mind your
That is,
business."
that is terrible. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Yeah, we were doing a little bit of tech support. It's Anthony's fault because he was going to fill in for part of the night for me and he didn't get my stuff ready. So I'm just going to blame him. But yeah, kids are the worst. I don't know if I could be a teacher. I think it takes a real level of patience to be a look, both of y'all to really be able to not scar other people's children.
Yeah, there are some interesting people. They are filterless.
Thank you, Jeff. That's right. You make sure you let him have it tomorrow. Appreciate you. Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about, is there a such thing as too much information? So let me tell you guys what happened to me this week or how I kind of came to this topic. So, everybody has the internet. At the tips of your fingers, you can say a phrase, ask a question, and Siri or Google or Alexa, somebody's going to have an answer for you. And it's just kind of seamless. Wherever you are, you can get any kind of information. So this week we've been visiting churches. We went to visit a church on Sunday. Nice ministry, nice building. Everybody was very welcoming. Um, the actual pastors are like on a sabbatical, so they weren't preaching; they were having in guests. Okay, cool, no real problem. So as we sit down after praise and worship is done, and um, they're introducing the speaker, they say the name. So this is a person that unfortunately has been in the media a little bit and not in a very unsavory way. for multiple things. Now I don't know if anything is true. I don't know if it's false, whatever. I just know it's been a lot of different things. A combination of things. And this has been like, I don't know, last couple of years. They've kind of been in the media and then they kind of backed away. You haven't seen them, you know, around, typically how people do during a scandal. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we here, And Anthony's like excited. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to ruin, whatever. And he's like, so he looks at my face. He's like, you know him? I said, "Oh, yeah, from the internet." What did he say? Yeah, I made sure I did not Google him. Right.
Like,
So, I'm trying to act like it's okay. So, the guy's preaching, and Anthony's like all in. So he even took out his phone a couple of times. It was like recording. He was like all in. And I was sitting there like, I was trying to really, some of the stuff he said was, it was what it was, but I just could not get past everything he said. His word was fire. He ain't my pastor. Right. And he's not. He's not our normal pastor. But it was just hard to hear what he was saying over, let's just say, everything I felt I knew about him.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, service was over, we came home, whatever. But like it kind of got me to thinking, like, do we really know too much? Like, can there be too much information? There was a time when you couldn't just Google a person, even TV stars, or whatever it was. You just, if something was really, really big, it made it to the newspapers. But a lot of the little stuff that we can scroll and see all day long, you couldn't see these things. And I'm just like, do we know too much, or do we think? Because I guess you don't really know how much is true and how much is it. Do we think we know too much? Like, because I felt like I probably really could have enjoyed this if I didn't know what I think I know.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we do have access to too much information. It's the times that we live in where, like you said, everything is at your fingertips. You have Google, you have Alexa, you have just social media in general, where we see so much of everything and so much of people's lives that 20 years ago you did not see this much of people's lives. If you wanted to know dirt on people 20 years ago, you had to go get the tabloids and you had to pay for them or stand in the grocery store line and read all the dirt in the tabloids, but you didn't know how much of that was true either.
Right.
At that time. But now I think that the indiscretions of people are put out in neon lights so often now that it almost makes it hard not to have a predetermined judgment about somebody when going into certain settings where a popular person or a person who's well known is coming into that area or that space. So I think we do have access to a whole lot more, and that it can be used to our benefit or to our demise. And I think that that's relative to how you use it and to wisdom.
Right.
I mean, I feel like there's always been the grapevine and the rumor mills. There's always been, rumors about people, even before. I remember growing up, girl, did you hear? And all that, there was always some rumors going on.
Right.
And even, I don't know if you guys have watched the series Bridgerton.
Yes.
Right.
And you remember when the ladies, they said, we'll do what ladies do, we'll talk.
Right.
And then they started their little rumors, and and I thought that was so funny. but there's always rumors, you know what I'm saying? So I think you always have to take things with a grain of salt sometimes and make a determination, you know, if you're gonna take what, you know, they're saying over who they are, you know, just disregard the messenger, especially if they're saying something good. Like, I can take what you're saying. I don't know about you, but you know, I can take what you're saying, you know, and sometimes it's hard to do that. It's definitely hard to do that sometimes, definitely.
Yeah. It was like, it was, I mean, like, so for me, like a lot of things, like if I hear something about somebody or even like see an article, it's like, whatever. But like, it's like if I'm in a video, right? And I'm saying to you, Trina, you stole my money. You know you took my money. Yeah, and you did this, and I'm saying it to you, right? And you're like, oh, somebody call the cops. Like you're not really like addressing the issue. Like when I don't know, when things are just so blatant, it's kind of like it's just all the way bad. And I
Yeah.
think that people can be redeemed. And we all know that God is a forgiving God. And I know that, on Monday you go to bed a lie, and on Tuesday, you could decide you delivered, you ain't gonna lie no more. Like I get, I get all of that. It just, I don't know, it was just so hard. And I was like, I wish that I didn't know anything. Like honestly, even this week, some of it's because Facebook has blocked me too, but some of it has been like I've been real selective, like about just the whole Facebook thing. Like I'm just like, I think I need a break because some things I don't want to know.
Right.
I even think back to like, the Cosby Show. Like my kids love it. You can still watch the reruns, and there's still really good lessons in it and whatever. And I still enjoy it. And I'm like, gosh, like I wish I didn't know, what you think you know about him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just, like, because even with trying to show my kids the lessons and, tell them how he was great at using his platform, to educate and uplift. And then it's like, yeah, but mommy, what happened to, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know, it kind of falls under that, don't let your good be evil spoken of, kind
Right.
of like, we live our lives so out front, and everybody wants to share everything. And it's great when it's good. When you got a new house, it's yay. I got a new car, and it's yay. But when you mess around and cheat on your wife,
Then it's like, whoa, we ain't need to
right,
know all that.
that same spotlight, right? That same spotlight is there, when you done passed a bad check. And at some point, everybody in the world may have done it. You know what I mean? Like on a I didn't carry the one type deal. But you know what I mean? Like, but it's like when you got somebody coming on and saying, yeah, your check bounced before the world, it just makes things so much more difficult. And I'm just like trying to figure out um
I think sometimes, especially when it comes to the church world, that we have to remember that a person's gift and their calling for what they're able to do is very different sometimes than the person that they actually are
absolutely.
and the life that they're living, and that we have to learn how to get past the muck and the mire of what we think we know about them, and hear what's supposed to be ministering to our hearts and to
Right.
our souls in that moment. And then when you, I think that shows the true level of maturity, when you're able to set aside the person and say, okay, I'm gonna, what the older people say, eat the meat and throw away the bones.
Right.
So I'm going to take what God is giving me in this moment through this vessel, because he's using this vessel in this
Right.
moment to deliver this word, and kind of forget about what I think I might know. And then, later when and you just kind of remember what you know when you're dealing with the person or interacting with them personally, if it's like on that level even. Because there are like people that we interact with on a routine basis, and you may have like some inside information about them, and you may be like, child. But at the same time, when it's time for them to be used, by God, you got to let God do what he's doing. But and you got to put your, oh girl, do you? Because I know, do you know? Let me be quiet. You got to push that off to the side and kind of receive what you need to receive in those moments. And that's hard sometimes. I would definitely 100% say that's hard. But yeah, we have access to so much. And everything has to, like, even the young people these days, it's like, why do you have to post everything? Like, we don't need to know all of that. Like, you telling me I do not need to know that information. Like, nobody should know that kind of information. I pulled a little girl to the side today and I was like, hey, come here. Like, let's have a conversation. Stop being so loud, first of all. And second of all, everybody don't have to know what's going on. Like, be a lady. Like, if nobody has ever told you how to be a lady, let me give you some directives right now. She wasn't even in my class. And I'm like, if you don't remember anything else about me, I need you to remember that I had this conversation with you today. Right. I need you to calm it down some. Everybody does not have to know all of that. Keep some things private. Keep some things personal. And in today's time, nothing is private. Nothing is personal. You having an argument with your boyfriend and the whole social media is vested. And then you don't want to tell us what's going on later. We vested now. I want to know how did it end?
Right.
Well, what happened? Did you forgive him?
Right.
But I mean, I think that because like they put everything out and it's trickling down to the point where it's like people don't know how to live. So when you talked about like even taking a break from social media, I think we all need to do that from time to time.
Right.
Like we just need moments where we're like, you know what? I'm cutting off all of these devices, all of these access to apps and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just not. Like I tell kids all the time, look it up in a book. Like, why you gotta go to Google? Go find a book. Do you know how to use a dictionary and an encyclopedia? No, right. Let me show you. Because like all this other access that y'all have, and then it takes you down rabbit holes. And you're going to learn 10, 20 things before you find out what you actually went to search Google for, or what you asked Alexa about. You're going to learn 20 other things now along the way. So
how do you guys feel about listening to music by R. Kelly at this point? I know some DJs won't play his music, but I've spoke to another DJ who said the people want to hear it, so I'm going to play it. So what do you guys think?
Okay, so I'm probably going to have the unpopular answer, because here's the thing. I feel like, let's see how I can say that's not so terrible. Honestly, like, I think what he did was absolutely wrong. I will say that. I think he was wrong in the things that he did. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's like me taking my bleeding leg out there in front of my dog and being mad when my dog try to eat it. Like, I feel like a lot of responsibility on the parents. Those parents failed.
Right.
You absolutely failed your child when you delivered them to an adult you did not know, unmonitored. Period. Like, and that goes, I don't care who you are or what you do. As a parent, it's my job to protect my daughter no matter what. Giftings are nice, talent is wonderful, all those things. But to just drop her off to any man that is not Anthony Walker, unmonitored, is insane. Mm-hmm. So, and then I feel like the whole information thing, We all have known who R. Kelly was for years because this has been something that has gone on for years. It's been in the media, people have talked about it, things have come out for years, and parents continually took their kids to this man. So yeah, I think he's wrong, but if a song of his come out on, do I get freaked out? No. I mean, I haven't bought anybody's music in a long time. I don't even think I think I do have maybe that Marry Me song on my playlist or whatever. He has a song, it's Marry Me or something along those lines. I think I have that one that I won't remove because I like it. So I think if I listened to him like that, would I have stopped? No. Um, but I do think he was wrong in what he did. But I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of them are on the wrong side of things that should be done. So I mean, if you're gonna stop listening to them, to be honest, we ain't gonna listen to too much of anybody.
Right.
That was a very long explanation, but that oh, did he say hold on? The elder. He said, I listen to R. Kelly. Yeah. He said, we've known right, all the entertainers, they like everybody participated in creating that monster. As
Right.
long as they could get what they needed out of him, nobody corrected him.
Right.
They just allowed him to do it. They were present while he did it. Some of them was even with him when he was looking or whatever he did. Like, so I think he absolutely was a monster. I'm sure he traumatized some of those young girls, but I hold the parents more responsible than I hold him. I think as a parent, like they failed. You failed. Your daughter went to go live at a grown man house.
Right.
Why?
I think that the artist is the artist and what they produce is their work. It's their creation. And we've supported a lot of people that have some issues and have some things going on in their personal lives that we have honestly continued to support and overlooked and ignored what their flaws were because of what they produce and what they put out. And as an artist, he is amazing in what he does, in his craft, in his ability to be able to produce. So for me, I think that that has to be separated from the personal acts as a man. Now, DJ's not playing his music and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, if they stop playing everything connected to him, they
They have
lose
to
so much of their
right.
distro of what they put out that because I mean, like everything is not always about his voice. He produced a whole lot. He wrote
And
a whole
wrote a lot of stuff.
lot. So like pull it off. If you're gonna say we're pulling his music because his voice is on here, pull it because he produced. Pull it because he wrote. Pull everything, and let's see what you're left with. You're gonna be left with the two little mumble songs that the new little mumble rappers have come up with, who probably sampled something from him, to be honest. So, I mean, but there are so many other things or people like Sam mentioned watching the Cosby Show and knowing what we know about what he is accused of doing and the time that he's serving for all of those accusations or served for all of those accusations and all that kind of stuff. But let there be a marathon of the Cosby Show on one of these channels. I'm probably not moving. I'm gonna watch all. I literally have a DVD collection of the Cosby Show, and I'm not throwing my DVDs away. I don't even have a DVD player, but I'm keeping my DVD. So I mean, like, it's just like the art of what they were doing at that time was amazing. We didn't know what he was doing in his personal life and what was going on because at that time, we didn't have social media, so we weren't hearing all of that stuff. But maybe if we had social media when the Cosby Shows were big, was in the 80s when it was out really big, maybe we would have known a little bit about it. But truth be told, we know a whole lot about people that are currently so-called big, and they still just as big. Like, you know, out here, oh, he got caught cheating on his wife. We got pictures of him doing this, that, and the other. And they still, you know, we still sending our dollars in that direction every single day of the week.
So Mike said it'd be difficult to listen to some gospel artists too. Right. Like, I think he said, I like Michael and Prince too.
So he's trying to start trouble.
I mean, again, I think you know, for me, like when it comes to some things, like I just look at it as like, you know, it's something like if he got out of jail by some kind of miracle and started some new music, I don't know if I could support him now. Like going forward, I don't know if I would buy new music now because my mind would always be wondering, you know, what little girl he got locked in the closet this week or something.
Right.
You know, so I don't know going forward if I could support him. But like for the music that I already have, it kind of is what it is for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like my biggest issue with that was always the parents. To hear people say, "Oh, I took my daughter to live with him so she could sing. She couldn't go to the studio and come back and forth like normal people. She had to live in his house."
That was a whole lot. Like
none of them made a song. Not one of.
Yeah.
Can any of them girls even sing? I ain't never heard a note. But you took her to his house. You moved her in with a grown man.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit much for me. I mean, he wrong. He's absolutely wrong. He was the adult. He should have known better. I'm with all of those things. He definitely should have known better. He should have done better. But I just don't understand how for 10, 15, 20 years, you're talking about the 90s, for 20 years, that parents continue to do this.
Right.
That's
they
the part.
Know, like they just that, and I think that's a part of that whole thing is like we have all this information about what he did and we put him in the monster category. And I'm not saying that he should not be, you know, in a category of like you were dead wrong for what you were doing. But we don't do the same thing to the other adults that were supposed to be responsible, because along with those parents, there were also people in his circle that could have been speaking up and saying, hey, this is not right. What are you doing? But yet these are people that were going out and doing this work for him. And like, so it's multiple people, but he's the one that is the name is attached to it. Right. So, because there are people like, I mean, that we probably still don't even know about. Like they put a whole lot out about the about the case and the documentaries and just all the stuff. They put a whole lot of information out there. However, there are still some unnamed people that played a lot of roles in everything that was going down in his houses and what what was happening. That like it's not okay. And so those people need to suffer the consequences as well for everything that went down.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, I think, we gotten better. So we got to do better. I'll definitely say that. We got to do better. So since you brought up R. Kelly, so what do you ladies think of Kanye? What do y'all think of the Kanye? Since we're talking about all the information that's out, right? Have you heard the information that's out?
No. I think he's a little special. And it's unfortunate that he doesn't have people in his circle either to rein him in. It's very unfortunate that he does not have anybody that can pull him by his coattail that he'll actually listen to slow up this process of destruction that he's on. I think that I was just telling McNair earlier, is that he's not just ruining his own name, but he's destroying the legacy that he's building for his children. And I think when he opens his mouth and when he begins to do things, he's forgetting that there's a legacy of 4 kids that are always going to be attached to him, no matter how they might be well off, as far as money wise, because they have a famous mom and a famous dad. So like money wise, they may not ever want for anything financially, but just the attachment and the legacy, you're ruining things for your for your kids. Like, if for nobody else, just sit down and be quiet, because you have kids that are being raised in this world, and you're like, it's like you built this empire that you're about to tear down all by yourself. And it's terrible because nobody is there to like rein him in. And to come back with an apology, or to come back with, well, I didn't mean it that way, and this is not. You got to learn how to like kind of zip it before it goes too far. But he's always been a little strange to me, though.
I totally agree. Hey, Taiwan, he said, didn't he get convicted on racketeering charge? That means multiple people should be going to prison, but no one else has even been charged. Absolutely.
Yeah.
R. Kelly, he absolutely did. And you're right. Nobody else has gotten charged. Nobody went to jail with all them people in the videos, all that stuff. I guess Mike is covered his face.
For Kanye.
Kanye. So here's my thing about Kanye. I think Kanye is a lot like R. Kelly in the sense that he is a monster of our own making. And I mean our own as in African American people. Mm-hmm. I feel like we have created the monster that is Kanye. Like, he came out and people, oh, he's a genius. First of all, I've never heard nothing extremely smart this fool has said. That's one. He's a genius. He's wonderful. He went and he married the Caucasian girl. And he talked about, she was the best thing since sliced bread. That was the best woman he ever seen. No people of color was offended by that dig toward Black women. They were perfectly fine with him being a genius and being wonderful while he was putting down people that look just like him. Those people that kicked him out, tried to kick him back over the line. He don't want to. I don't feel like, how can I say this? It'd be nice. I feel like, he said, what did you say? A musical genius? Right. But that's what I mean. Like, we're willing to ignore everything that he says or does in our community because he's a musical genius. He's made comments about people of color, about slavery, wearing the MAGA hat, the White Lives Matter. He's done all these things. And Black people of color, we don't cancel him. We don't stop buying his music. We don't stop buying the homeless clothes and the ugly sneakers. We still buying all this stuff. We still supporting them. Yay. What they call him, Yeezy, yay, whatever his name is. He's great. He's wonderful. He says stuff about other cultures and they're like,
now it's like,
we ain't having it.
Yep.
But the crazy part is the thing that I've seen is on a lot of people of color's timeline. They say, well, why didn't he get canceled when he talked about slavery?
Because we didn't cancel him.
That's my point. He is a monster of our making. Why would the Jewish community cancel him for talking about Black people? Why are we expecting another culture to care more about us than we care about us? Mm. We the ones, I ain't seen any Caucasian people in them sneakers. I see lots of people of color and they gotta have Yeezys. I see him, all these kids at the school. I see adults walking around with them plastic shoes with the holes in it. Like, but these are people of color. Like, why aren't we outraged when our geniuses, when those people, step out of character or do something outside the line? For years, people have supported R. Kelly. For years, he's had a big entourage. For years, people have booked him for concerts and done all of this. And the monster just grew. He kept doing what he was doing. The same thing with Kanye. He like how much further does he have to go? Like we did the MAGA hat. He was up there almost kissing Trump in the mouth. I mean, like, how much does he need to do for us to be outraged? Like, when do we become outraged about these things?
I
He
think we
said,
become immune to some of
we know him
the
because
crazy.
we understand the source in which the foolishness is coming from. I don't know. You have to explain that. What source? He said, it's been about attention. We didn't cancel him. What does that mean? I'm not understanding the comments. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. Black people don't unify and and demand things. Jewish people are unified and they made instant demand. We see how it's playing out. Absolutely. I agree with you. We don't unify and demand anything at all. We start strong, but man, we like a rocket that loses its rudder. Start going up before you know it we right back down. He says, so is it wrong for him or others highlight slavery? Is modern slavery wrong? Um, is it to highlight slavery is wrong in all forms. I think we're all pretty clear on that. I don't think he really highlighted it. He tried to make light of it, like it
He
wasn't
said slavery was an option.
right or choice or something like
Choice.
that.
Yes.
Right. He tried to I don't know what his thought process was because I try to listen to him very little, whatever. The point that I was making though is just that when that if we don't, like Taiwan said, unify and make a demand, we can't be upset when other people make demands.
Right.
You know, like we still trying to stand up and fight the power for him, but I don't even understand why. He said, sorry, two thoughts. What? So
His
he's
last
always been about attention. Right. He's had from way back when he walked on stage and grabbed the mic or whatever he did to Taylor
name.
Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Right. Like he has had and we thought it was cute. Oh, you see what he like we've supported his bad behavior every step of the way. And it's just grown to where the same people that's been supporting your bad behavior, those are the same people that you offend.
I think that there was a point in which there was a shift for him as far as like how he behaved in public. Not that something wasn't going on with him behind closed doors, but I think that there was a shift for him after his mom passed away. And it was like I think she was the one who reined him in a whole lot. Like he might do something a little crazy, and then she would probably grab him by his collar and be like, "Hey, that's not what we out here doing."
Right. You know, black mamas don't play.
Right, and kind of tighten him up a little bit and be like, "I don't care who you're around. That's not how we act." And I think when he lost her, he also, because people were initially like, oh, you know, they were so sad and they were, you know, sympathizing with him. And it was just kind of like, oh my God, like you're going through a rough time. I think that rough time period for him grew and turned into just this, nobody can say anything to him. And as that time frame began to happen, he also grew in fame. And as he began to get this more fame, and we're at a place where, oh, nobody can say anything to him right now because he's at a rough time in his life. It just lost complete control. And he does not have anybody. I think that's the most unfortunate thing with young people that are not famous, young people that are famous, older people too, is not having people in your corner that will tell you the truth. Not having people in your corner that will be like, hey, like, I see what you're saying. I see what you're trying to do, but that's not okay. Let's talk about that. And I think that comes with like people not being yes men and do boys and do girls. Like it's just, you got to have people that's going to tell you the truth around you. Like if I'm doing something crazy, I'm not famous. I don't have a whole lot of money either. But if I'm doing something crazy, I need one of y'all to check me. I need one of y'all to be like, hey, we need to talk. You've been like way off in left field lately, a whole lot. Like every time I talk to you, you hooping and hollering about how somebody talking to you and how somebody treating you. But have you realized that this is what, like, you deserve that? Like people because like you acted. So like you need people in your corner, and I think they're losing that sense of people that will rein you in.
Right. Mike said someone to check you. Absolutely. He said George Bush don't like black people. That's when it started. Right. We thought that was cute. We thought that was cute. It's kind of like a kid. You know how you see a fresh kid, they're like 2, and the kid be like, your mama. And everybody in the room start laughing. Ah! And then when he 14 and he give you the middle finger, everybody's like, oh,
right.
Where did that happen? When did that started when he
it.
was 2, and we thought it was cute. Like you said, you know, for Kanye, it started a while ago. People look to be offended just to be offended. So, Richard, or not, I'm going to have to agree and disagree with you, because I do feel like sometimes people look for reasons to be offended. But I also think that you don't have to give them a bunch. Like he's been on an offensive tour.
Path, yeah.
Yeah, like he's offended everybody. He offend men. He offend women. You know, he offend any race there is. He done offended politicians. You know, like he's just being offensive. I think he's gotten to the point. You know, like Mike said, nobody to check you. There's no accountability. You know, he felt like he had enough money that he could do and say whatever he wanted. And so they said, oh, well, we're going to show you. And in 2 days, they've taken half his money away. In 2 days. What kind of super stupid do you have to be that in 2 days you lose $500 million and you ain't slowed down yet?
Yeah, and I think that's what I think about with, not that I think his children will ever be wanting for anything, but I'm like, man, like just the legacy that you are creating and building is turning into just such a negative connection. Like I could absolutely see why their mother is like, we don't want nothing to do with that. Not that I think any of that is right either, because like that's a whole nother ball game of stuff.
I think they pushed him further onto that side.
That's probably true. But I definitely
How did they take $500 million?
Oh, he's losing contracts and deals, and like Adidas pulled from working with him. They closed the school in Chicago that is named after his mother. Somebody else pulled their deals and cut all ties with him. So like the companies that are sponsoring him and paying his bills are pulling their contracts
and producing his clothing and producing his
they're pulling all of that stuff.
He's lost a lot of his deals. Like the way his money was coming in, he's lost all that. He may still own the Yeezys, but he don't have nobody to
but nobody's putting them out.
Right. He don't have anybody to produce them. So that's how he's lost a lot of his money. And I think he tried to give like a sideways apology like yesterday or something. He's tried to apologize. And to be honest, I hope that for him, he's realizing that he needs to do some things differently. I thoroughly believe in free speech, and I think you should be able to say and express how you feel. But I also feel like you have to be mindful of how you express things and when and where, time and place. And you can't ever get so big that you're not accountable to anybody. Right. Like that is where people have, the biggest downfall. I mean, think about R. Kelly was living his life. He wasn't accountable to nobody. He was married, having a bunch of kids, and having girlfriends in other bedrooms. Like there was no accountability for him. paying a bunch of people to come in and out and all this other stuff. No accountability. Like anytime there's no accountability, I think we're gonna see, um, unfortunately, people take a dive. There's nobody to rein you in. You have to have boundaries. When you get too big, when you just it seemed like it just get too easy to do and say whatever you want, and nobody to tap you on your shoulder. He said he better do a lot of apologizing and charm offensive. Well, unfortunately, because of the media, we'll all be watching. So unfortunately, this is playing out before our eyes.
Yeah.
Like I said, way too much information. Um, I do agree with, was it you, Shanetta or Trina, that said nothing is private anymore? Like, I mean, it's gotten so bad, but people even, on the internet, you can find people post naked pictures of themselves. Like, nothing is private. It baffles me. Like, why?
Right.
I don't, yeah, like sometimes when I'm scrolling and I see that, I just be like, why? Why? But accountability is a huge thing, because a lot of things we see on social media, in the news, is places where people lack accountability. There's nobody there to say, you shouldn't do that. No, 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 don't do this. We've seen that time and time again. He said, when you get that big, you need a good team around you and advisors. You're right. Advisors, you need a team of people that are committed to your success, not people that are committed to keeping you happy.
Right.
Because there's a difference. Like, somebody that's committed to my success, that want to see me be successful and healthy, and wealthy, they can be like, Sam, don't do that. That wasn't a good look. But some people, somebody that just wants me to be happy, I'm gonna say, I want to do this. Good, yeah, do that. Okay, I'm gonna do this too. Yeah, do that too. Like, so there's a difference. It's a difference. And I'm sure it's hard to build, especially at that level, to build a good team of people. Because it's hard when you ain't got, it's hard at any level to build a team of good people. And I think when you get to that level, it's probably even harder.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do it. I see you look down, and I was trying to figure that out. Um, but so yeah, to bring it all together, it is a lot of information, and like Shanetta said, with everything, we probably need to use wisdom, um, and really figure out how to navigate some of this stuff. And then I also realized, like, I don't have to know everything.
Right.
Like, I find myself, like you said, that rabbit hole. Sometimes I'm like, wait, what happened?
Right.
I'm trying to piece it together. And then I remind myself, like, why do you care? Like, you know, get yourself together. Like, don't care. So I think we have to be careful how we process and use the information that's at our fingertips.
Mhm.
Um, we don't have to ingest everything that we see. Um, I'll definitely say we have to be wise and even accountable with the information we take in. Like, even with everything I knew about the preacher on Sunday, like, I honestly, even though he had a good word or whatever, but I didn't honestly feel like it was for me, not
Mhm.
because it was coming from him, but
Right.
because that's just not the season that I'm in.
Right.
But at the same time, it was definitely for the mister. And so he enjoyed it, a lot more than I did. But in an effort to be accountable, for the information I took in, I didn't share it with him.
Right.
Even when he asked, like, do you know who he was? I was like, yeah, well, I just seen him online, because I didn't want to ruin, what he could have possibly needed. So I think it's important, to be able to differentiate and, and make those decisions. Everything, everybody doesn't have to know. You don't
Right.
have to share things. Um, Everybody doesn't process things the way you do. And so you don't want to ruin somebody else's experience. So be wise with the information, be accountable for your actions. And that's across the board. It doesn't matter if you make $10,000 a year or 100 million a year. We
Mhm.
should all, work on accountability, because it's important. What we put out, what we portray, all of that matters. And then, accountability, of course, is tied into my word. Bing, 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 community. Yes. Like you say, Shanetta, Kanye, he is leaving an interesting legacy. His community, his kids, all of those that are connected to him are affected by what he does. And so
Right.
I think it's important for us to remember our community. Remember the energy that you're putting out to those people that are connected to you. Remember the energy that they may be receiving based on your behavior. So community is very, very important. It's important how you disseminate information, how you process it, how how you give it out. All of that is important because it all affects your community. If
Right.
all you do is take in a bunch of garbage, it comes out to those that are connected to you. So if anything, be wise about the information that, that you take in. Use wisdom. Trina, did you have any last words?
Nope.
Shanetta, any last words?
Nope. I think you summed it up well.
Yes. So guys, until next week, when we return, stay safe.